Hey guys, Dov here, back with another unit to highlight. Quick reminder, if you like this series, you're enjoying it, finding it useful, go ahead and drop a like. Today we're talking about Witch Elves. Yet another dual-wield DPS infantry, but of course what sets them apart is they've got this here, the Madness of Cain. A 15-second rampage on contact. He has minus 20% speed, minus 10% melee defense, nice little debuff, and of course the Enrage forces the unit out of control. So this is a game from a stream I had a while back. Yeah, Killerinu here with the Dark Elves up against Gidetmule's Skaven, and we've got two Witch Elves here. One of them is the Sisters of Singing Doom, the Regiment of Renown that causes terror. They've also got Frenzy and Martial Mastery, Murderous Mastery. They have good charge, weapon damage overall, very low melee defense and armor, obviously relying on that physical resistance. Madness of Cain plus good melee attack though. They do have relatively low HP, as many elf units do. And yeah, mostly they're known for the Madness of Cain, which can be used to help control high-value enemy units and mobile units especially. Here, he's also got a couple bolt throwers, some Corsairs in the front line, some Sad Swords, Fear Spears, including the Bronies. Marathi with some Dark Riders out to the flanks here. And speaking of Dark Riders, a couple more out to the corners as well. For the Skaven, we've got three weapons teams. The Gisele's currently focusing on the bolt throwers, doing a great job there. While the bolt throwers focus these guys here, the avalanche mortars. Definitely, they were completely way overpowered at one point, then CA nerfed them to where they were useless. Now they're in a pretty good middle ground. They are kind of expensive though, and I mean, keep in mind that the two bolt throwers combined are less cost than the avalanche mortars, so if they can just take these guys out primarily, that's basically cost effective for them. The Dark Riders also get a nice little pick in here. Gidetmule, not looking at his mini-map here, which is definitely something that I've never, ever done, not even once. Promise, not once. And the avalanche mortars, regardless, they'll still get some really nice volleys of very effective damage on those repeater crossbows. So they've managed to do a little bit for their cost, but definitely the high-value targets you can see Killerinu's keeping back out of range here. The Witch Elves, the Blackguards, all three, I guess, are high-value targets. The magic damage of the Avalanche Mortars means it will just delete any of these units. Magic damage plus armor piercing. So very applicable there. But right now, Killerinu just playing forward with his cavalry, using the bolt throwers to soften up targets so that when the Witch Elves come in, they won't take too much ranged damage, which is definitely a smart play. The other big danger from the Skaven army is taking a bunch of shock damage from Rat Ogres, so if he can control the Rat Ogres as well, it should be in pretty good shape to get these Witch Elves in here and just start blending up all of this chaff. Dark Rider's going to get a quick cheeky charge here. Bolt thrower shots continuing to go in against the mortars. Mortars are quite resilient, honestly. Have quite a bit of HP per model, even though they have very low health overall. There, though, the focus fire of the... Despite the best effort of the Gisele's, the bolt thrower is still online. You can see one of the bolt throwers basically now getting finished off. But all that means these Witch Elves are going to get into combat here relatively unopposed. The Sisters of Singing Doom in particular, with a nice kind of terror-causing rear charge here, could potentially get a very favorable situation. Again, though, they do have to be a little bit careful of Rat Ogres, because as long as they don't get charged directly by the Rat Ogres like that, they can actually punch back okay, because the Rat Ogres have pretty low defense and armor. I mean, just the high attack of the Sisters of Singing Doom in general will make them trade okay, but yeah, look at these Tan Vulcan's Tail Slashers. Regiment of Renown Clan Rats just getting absolutely shredded here. Lord Skrolk and the Assassin and the Warlock Engineer are going to try and do their best to drain out these Witch Elves, but right now they are just moving through. Murderous Prowess and Murderous Mastery especially kicking off. You can see up to 57 melee attack with that active on the regular ones here. Oh yeah, I hear them screeching. Sisters of Singing Doom up even higher. So we'll get in close as they chase off all these rats here, just absolutely lawnmowering, and their speed also comes in into play against the Skaven as well. Since Skaven run away very fast, the Witch Elves with their 44 speed can help keep up with them. Sisters of Singing Doom, of course, with their terror. Very, very good against the Skaven. Terror anti-infantry is basically like designed, but you can see even with the engagements they've had, they've still taken quite a bit of damage. Up to 111 kills already, though, there. 68 there with an XP Chevron. And yeah, you can see the Hell Pit gets enraged here, so it can't pull away. Same thing with any of these other characters. They do have to take a little bit of damage first. It's not an instant enrage, I want to say it's like 20% HP damage or something is the threshold. Don't remember exactly, but this is a classic use of Witch Elves right here to enrage a large monster or cavalry or whatever onto some halberds using Blackguard and Witch Elves in tandem. Very, very strong. Morathi's also going to dive in there. The Skaven are not done yet, though. A really nice volley from the Avalanche Mortars just decimates this blob here. They've come back for a few more shots there, but it's a little bit of a dangerous situation. The Hell Pit Abomination is getting consistently poked and dragged down by the Blackguard here, and the Enrage very key in not allowing it to pull away. Death Frenzy comes in, it looks like, maybe just a little bit too late. Or no, that's Howling Warp Gale to keep Morathi in place. But she's now in danger of getting absolutely gooned. Skrulk does magic damage, and she primarily relies on physical resistance, if I remember right. Does she actually have magic resistance? Oh, she's actually got magic resistance, okay. Well, we should be able to avoid that Liber Bubonicus damage and all that other stuff, all that other nastiness. But with the Hell Pit being chased off, there's a handful of Witch Elves here still fighting. That's another thing, too. Witch Elves' leadership is very good, so although they're very squishy, they will typically, after they rout, come back and fight to the end. There's, what, 18 of these Sisters of Singing Doom here. Oh, nice bombardment from Morathi. Wrecks some of those Rat Ogres. And again, the Skrulk's magic damage will be okay against these gals, but they're going to get in here and get a few anti-infantry attacks. Morathi also comes down, and you see just those few attacks, even though they routed, were enough to momentarily enrage Skrulk there, potentially preventing him from casting spells and so on. So good stuff. The other Witch Elves, where did they go? They're around here somewhere. Hell Pit Abomination still alive, though, so potential danger for the Dark Elves. Definitely want to finish that off. You can see the balance power still very, very close because of that Hell Pit. The ability to generate HP there. Another really nice Soul Stealer, though, from Morathi. Should help deal with Skrulk here. They're kind of fighting it out right now. Here come the Witch Elves once again. There's a lot of supporting elements for the Skaven here, though. And the Blackguard getting pretty low. All these Spearmen getting pretty low. Witch Elves get another Enrage here, potentially on the charge. But they also are likely to get Terror Routed. They do not have Immune to Psychology baseline. So once that Frenzy fades, which it will quite easily in this situation, they will also want to Terror Rout. A little bit of give and take there. But these Dark Riders still have got a little bit of ammo left. Some Corsairs coming back. And how about these Sisters of Singing Doom? 11 of them coming back to finish off the fight here. Still very close, if not slightly in the Skaven's favor at this point. But keep in mind, of course, the Sisters of Singing Doom do cause terror. They're going to actually fear and terror out those Rat Ogres away there. And if they can get the right situation, they could get a big terror out here to break most of the Skaven army. The leadership's looking pretty low, and especially if this Hell Pit goes down, I mean, that would be the absolute end of days. So, let's see. Crossbows probably going to focus on the Hell Pit. Yep, the repeater crossbows there, down to like 1,000 HP. Does it get the healing proc, or does it just die? That's the question. The Corsairs immediately get terrified almost. Here come the Sisters of Singing Doom. Here come the other Witch Elves. The Hell Pit goes down. It does not get its healing proc. A little bit of bad luck for the Skaven. They maybe could have won if it did get its healing proc. It's hard to say. Well, maybe not too hard to say. The Dark Elves are pretty tattered, but another big old Soul Stealer. And then here come the Witch Elves. One more attack in here. Once more for Kane. Sacrificing the Ratty Boys. Oh yeah, nice fancy spinning attacks. And that big terror rout. You can see a lot of units starting to pop, and there it is. That's all she wrote. Sisters of Singing Doom, all, what, like 9 of them or whatever that are left? End up getting a very, very timely terror rout. So really good game, very well played to both players. Yeah, man, the Witch Elves, normally they're a priority target for a lot of people, right? But sometimes you want to prioritize other things. Your opponent maybe doesn't present them in a right way, and credit to Killerino here. He did a good job kind of playing back from his bolt throwers initially, and then once the mortars were offline, then bringing the Witch Elves and the Blackguards forward. It's definitely a pretty strong play there. The regular mortars and the avalanche mortars, both from the Skaven, are big dangers to Witch Elves, and for most elf units in general, because they have pretty low HP. But yeah, very, very fun stuff. Super high kill totals, which is what we'd like to see here against all that Skaven chaff, and also XP chevrons, so it was some value work done there as well, especially like the tail slashers doing damage to the Rat Ogres, its characters as well. also very solid. So just kind of finishing up here with Witch Elves. Obviously, the Madness of Cain is really what sets them apart from other units in this class, but purely from a stat standpoint, they're maybe not the best for the cost. If we compare them directly to War Dancers, which is a unit that's also a little bit niche and situational. War Dancers, just better overall in terms of their stats. More defense, more attack. They do not have Frenzy, though, and obviously they don't have Murderous Mastery, but they do have Immune to Psychology and Woodsman. They also gain this Shadow's Coil Dance for additional melee defense should they need it. Witch Elves do have a tiny bit more leadership, but even less HP. War Dancers are already a pretty squishy unit. Let's see, 20% physical resistance. Witch Elves coming in at 20% as well. So very comparable units. You can see how much value, though, that just the Madness of Cain gives you and the difference of stats there. It's pretty clear. Witch Elves, actually, for their stats, are not very good. If they didn't have the Madness of Cain, they would need to be cheaper to really be effective. But even still, they can get in and get a lot of damage done against Chaff Infantry. Definitely kind of in that same vein. Yeah, we could also compare them to... This is an interesting comparison. I would say Berserker is definitely a better unit overall. That 52 weapon damage is pretty insane, actually, for a unit in this price range. A whole 20 weapon damage more than the Witch Elves. They've also got a whopping, like, 2,700 more HP. Leadership's pretty comparable. They've got this Enrage, which is maybe better than Murderous Mastery. It's really hard to say on that one. They've got Regiment Renown that's unbreakable instead of causing terror, which is kind of different. But, yeah, I would say Berserkers are just clearly a better unit overall. Even, I would say, the Madness of Cain's not necessarily worth that much of a decrease, although it's really hard to put a value on that, given that these guys, or these girls rather, can get deleted very quickly, but if you do get, like, even 1 or 2 Madness of Cain's in the right place at the right time, that can swing an engagement and even an entire battle, so something to be aware of. Definitely something to be aware of. As far as, like, direct synergies for them go, I mean, there's not a lot you can do, because the Dark Elves, like, they don't, I mean, besides, like, an infantry debuff blob, obviously, that's good support. They don't have the best support abilities in the world. Stand your ground from your standard characters will give a little bit more melee defense. I guess only the Beastmaster has it. Interesting. This Whiplash, too, actually, for the extra weapon damage. Charge bonus is not really super important. Generally, you'd be using this on, like, Chariots or Cav, but it's also not terrible to use on Witch Elves, I guess. And then, yeah, kind of the one big one is the Witch Brew, right? That some of these witch characters have. This is, I guess that's a self-target one. I'm thinking of a different one. Somebody else have one that's not self-target? Oh, no, I guess it is just self-target for the Witch Brew. I was thinking you could use that on someone else. Am I thinking of another item here? No? I don't know. Anyway. Direct synergies, I mean, increasing their stats by debuffing your opponent's stats, giving them extra melee defense is always nice, but really, they're kind of should be seen more as a support unit than a direct damage unit. Yes, they can, as we saw there, do a ton of damage in the right scenario, but you really can't focus on this enough. It's really all about this Enrage contact effect. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.